Hello, I'm Simon Whistler, you're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today, the top 10 mermaid legends from around the world. Just before we get started with this one, there are a lot of weird pronunciations, so I'm sorry if I screw them up. For thousands of years, people have been writing about mermaids, and they are still incredibly popular in modern-day movies and TV series. Virtually every culture has their own versions of the mermaid legend. Sometimes they are sirens who try to lure men to their death out at sea. Other times they are trying their best to be friendly, and they may even want to become a human. Today, almost everyone has come to an agreement that mermaid sightings in ancient times were most likely a figment of sailors' imaginations or misidentifying manatees, seals, and dolphins. However, that doesn't make it any less fascinating to know exactly what sort of mermaid legends exist throughout the world. Number 10. Kiosk. The Kiosk mermaid from the Scottish Highlands is half woman and half salmon. Legend has it that if a sailor can capture the Kiosk, they will get 3 wishes. They were known for luring men to their deaths, like most siren legends. If you got on the mermaid's bad side, the one way to kill it would be to destroy their, Horcrux, for lack of a better word. Just like Voldemort, they put their soul in an object like a shell and hid it away to ensure that humans could never kill them. If a sailor succeeded in finding true love with a mermaid, she would transform into a human woman and walk on land. Instead of just 3 wishes, he would be granted good luck for the rest of his life. Some Scottish families even claimed that their family descended from a mermaid-human couple. Number 9. The Chilean royal family of the sea. In Chile, the mythological king of the sea was called Milalobo, who was half man, half sea lion. Unlike most mermaid legends, where these creatures just magically came into existence, he was, unfortunately, a product of a human mother and a sea lion father. In case you had any doubts, yes, there is furry fan art of Milalobo everywhere, but don't worry, it gets much worse. Milalobo married a human woman and they had a son named Pinkeye, and they also had 2 daughters named Serena and Pinkeye. Sailors describe seeing the merman Pinkeye when they were lost out at sea, and he helped bring them back to shore. His sister Pinkeye has long blonde hair and blue eyes. The stories describe her as being the most beautiful woman in the world. She sits on a rock and dances. If she faces towards the sea, it means the fishermen will find a lot of fish that year. If she faces towards the shore, it means they will struggle to find food. Just like many ancient royal families, they didn't exactly have millions of options when it came to continuing the mermaid gene pool. Not to get too Game of Thrones on you here, but Pinkeye and Pinkeye aren't just brother and sister, they're also husband and wife. According to one account from 1632, Pinkeye was spotted emerging from the sea holding a baby. Number 8. Triton. You will probably recognize the name Triton as Ariel's father in The Little Mermaid. Disney borrowed this character from Greek mythology of the god of Lake Tritonus. Triton was the son of Poseidon, and he carried a conch shell that he could use as a horn, as well as carrying a magical trident. According to legend, sailors got lost on the lake, and Triton helped them by creating a plot of land which is now called the island of Thera. The sailors were able to rest while Triton explained to them how to get back to the open sea. Of course, not all accounts of Triton were positive. When cattle would go missing or a storm killed sailors out at sea, many assumed that Triton was to blame. People knew that they wouldn't stand a chance if they tried to go head-to-head with a god, so the best they could do to appease his wrath was to leave a chalice of wine for him at the shore as a peace offering. Number 7. Mami Wata. Mami Wata is an African mermaid goddess who is seen as a compassionate healer and mother to all aquatic creatures. Stories of her spread all over the continent and were eventually brought over to the Caribbean islands. There have been sightings of Mami Wata in lakes, rivers, and at the ocean shore. She is often spotted holding a water snake around her shoulders. They say that she can transform into a woman, fish, or a mermaid, depending on her mood. Today, people are still fascinated with the legend of Mami Wata. Statues and souvenirs of her are sold in gift shops. There is even a religious group called To Praise the Goddess, where an individual follower is called a Mami Wata child. They claim that Mami Wata is a name given to the collective of dozens of water deities. Followers claim they see the mermaid of Mami Wata in their dreams, and it calls them to undergo a spiritual cleansing. Number 6. The Finfolk. In Scotland and Ireland, they believed in the Finfolk, which were mermaids who lived in an underwater kingdom called Finfolkheim. They also took a summer vacation to the island of Hildeland, which would only appear for a moment before disappearing, making it impossible for humans to find. Finfolk were shapeshifters, so they could transform from full fish to full human or swim around as a mermaid. Stories say that Finfolk men and women were very beautiful in order to attract humans to mate with them. If they succeeded in finding a human lover, they could suck the youth out of them and live forever. So if anyone was kidnapped or if sailors were lost at sea, it was blamed on the Finfolk. However, if Finfolk married within their own species, the Finwife was doomed to take on the guise of an elderly woman in order to find work on the land in order to earn silver to keep them alive. They described the signs of a Finwife as an older, unmarried woman who had cats and practiced witchcraft. Obviously, this is just one of the many ways people have tried to accuse lonely old women of being witches throughout the history of mankind. Number 5. The Two-Tailed Siren. Have you ever wondered why Starbucks has a two-tailed mermaid as its logo? The original image came from 7th century Italy. It was one of many illustrations in the Otranto Cathedral in Italy, which is on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea. The mermaid was included next to images of biblical stories like the Tree of Life, as well as images of the Egyptian Sphinx and Alexander the Great. It was supposed to represent the exchange of religions, philosophies, and ideas that were being exchanged during the Middle Ages. Some believe that it was based on the legend of Melusine, the French water spirit who was said to transform into a human woman or have fishtails. Throughout the years, many artists copied the image of the Two-Tailed Siren. Starbucks claimed that they were inspired by the 16th century Norse woodcut image of this mermaid. Apparently, the reason why they chose the image as their coffee logo is because they wanted their coffee to be just as seductive as a mermaid. Number 4. Iara. According to Brazilian legend, Yara was a brave, intelligent girl living in the Amazon. She was a warrior who could fight better than her own brothers. She was so well loved and respected by her community that her brothers' accomplishments paled by comparison. Their jealousy was so intense that they killed her and dumped her body in the Amazon River. The goddess of the moon, Jatsy, felt sorry for her and brought her back to life as a mermaid. After becoming a mermaid, Yara spent the rest of her days seeking revenge on men. Anytime a man drowned in the river, they blamed it on Yara. Later on, a man named Jaorén came across Yara, and they fell in love. He told his mother about the beautiful mermaid that he met while fishing on the Amazon River, and he decided to join her in a life underwater. Some believe that since then, her angry spirit is finally at peace. Number 3. The Jamestown Mermaid. You may remember John Smith from the story of Pocahontas and his part in colonizing Jamestown, Virginia. During his travels, he claimed to have seen a beautiful woman with green hair swimming next to the boat. When she dove underwater, he noticed that she was actually a mermaid. However, this account has been a topic of heated historic debate, with many people believing that John Smith never made this claim at all, and that writers telling the stories of his travels took creative liberties. Even so, this wasn't the only time travelers colonizing the New World claimed to see mermaids. Today, though, these sightings, they're simply thought to be misidentified manatees. Number 2. The Dutch Mermaid. In 1403, a dike in the city of Kampen in the Netherlands had a crack in it, opening it up to the sea. Water began to flood into the river. After making repairs, citizens from Kampen claimed that they saw a mermaid swimming in the river in the town. At first, people were scared, but the woman continued to swim without bothering anyone. The people eventually decided to capture this woman and bring her onto the land, where she transformed into a human with 2 legs. She could not speak, but they cleaned her up and forced her to go to church and become a Christian. She attempted to escape and jump into the water multiple times, but someone always stopped her. Some historians say that this was no mermaid at all, and in fact it was just a woman who was deaf and mute and just really liked swimming. Number 1. Jiaorén. In Chinese folklore, the Jiaorén weren't just beautiful mermaids. They were very skilled craftspeople who could weave beautiful white cloth called dragon yarn that could never get wet. They said that if a mermaid cried, her tears turned into pearls. During the Jin dynasty, one account tells the story of a mermaid who emerged from the water and decided to sell dragon yarn to humans. If anyone was kind to her and gave her a place to stay, she would thank them by crying into a jar, filling it with precious pearls. Throughout history, there are several accounts of high society people who claim that they have cloth made from a mermaid's dragon yarn. So I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for brand new videos every day of the week. Also, I've got another channel, it's called Today I Found Out, and on that channel we have content very much like this, except we dive into one specific subject in real depth. You can check that out through the icon on the screen now. But if you're looking for something else to watch right now, why not check out another TopTenz video or a Today I Found Out video over there on the right. And as always, thank you for watching.